Winter is coming, and Ukraine's energy crisis has never been more urgent. Amid Russia's relentless attacks on gas and power infrastructure, President Zelensky has announced a historic deal with Greece to secure a new gas supply route, backed by nearly €2 billion in financing from European allies and the U.S. But while this brings hope for millions of Ukrainians facing blackouts, a massive corruption scandal threatens to shake the very foundations of Kyiv's government. Tonight, we're breaking down what this deal means for Ukraine's survival, the escalating Russian energy war, and the high-stakes diplomacy that could change the course of this conflict. Ukraine is taking a bold step to secure its energy future this winter. On November 16, 2025, President Volodymyr Zelensky announced that Ukraine and Greece have agreed on a new route for gas supplies, a move aimed at diversifying sources and protecting the country from Russia's winter energy attacks. Zelensky said, "As of today, we have prepared an agreement on gas for Ukraine. This will be another route for gas supply to maximize the security of import routes for Ukraine during winter. This isn't just about keeping the lights on. It's about diversifying energy sources at a time when Russia has made it clear that targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure is part of its war strategy. Russian airstrikes have destroyed gas facilities, heating systems, and even solar power plants across Ukraine, leaving millions vulnerable to blackouts during the harsh winter months. By establishing a direct supply line with Greece, Ukraine is reducing the risks posed by attacks on traditional pipelines and bolstering its energy independence. The agreement also signals Ukraine's strategic shift toward building stronger energy partnerships within Europe. By diversifying supply routes, Kyiv is reducing the risk of a full-scale energy blockade and asserting a stronger stance against Moscow's winter offensive. In essence, the Greece gas route represents a multi-layered defense strategy, a shield against Russia's attacks, a lifeline for millions of citizens, and a signal to the world that Ukraine is serious about its energy security. In the midst of war, this agreement is more than infrastructure. It's a statement of resilience and determination. Securing the Greece gas route is only part of Ukraine's broader strategy to keep the country warm, powered, and functioning through one of its toughest winters. Beyond the new supply line, Ukraine is mobilizing an unprecedented €2 billion, $2.3 billion in financing to cover energy production losses caused by Russian attacks. President Zelensky stressed the importance of this support. "We are creating broad opportunities for winter supplies, in particular through our Polish partners, and we are working actively with Azerbaijan, and we very much count on long-term contracts. We have discussed this with the president recently. This financial backing is coordinated with a coalition of European partners, the U.S., Norwegian authorities, and Ukrainian banks, demonstrating a remarkable level of international cooperation. The goal is clear: ensure that Ukraine's homes, hospitals, schools, and industries have reliable access to gas and energy, even as Russian airstrikes aim to plunge the nation into darkness and cold." The importance of this energy security strategy cannot be overstated. In recent weeks, Russian attacks have intensified on key gas infrastructure and heating systems, with mass strikes on November 8th and November 14th causing widespread blackouts. The addition of Greek gas imports, alongside long-term contracts being negotiated with Azerbaijan through Poland, is designed to reduce Ukraine's vulnerability to these attacks, while also providing a sustainable framework for future energy independence. By combining new supply routes, international financing, and diversified contracts, Ukraine is essentially building a multi-layered defense for its energy sector. This strategy not only protects citizens during winter, but also sends a strong message. Despite the war, Ukraine's leadership is capable of planning ahead and securing the resources necessary to withstand both military and economic pressures from Russia. Energy security is no longer just about pipes and contracts. It is now a key pillar of national resilience, a measure of Ukraine's ability to survive, and a crucial signal to allies that their support can have a lasting impact on the country's stability. While energy security is vital for Ukraine's survival this winter, President Zelensky is also taking his message and negotiations to the international stage. His visit to Greece marked the signing of the new gas supply deal, but it is just the first stop in a tightly packed diplomatic tour aimed at strengthening both energy and defense partnerships. From Greece, Zelensky headed to France, where he prepared to finalize what he described as a historic defense agreement. According to the president, this deal will significantly strengthen Ukraine's air defense and combat aviation capabilities, giving Kyiv new tools to counter Russian air attacks and bolster its strategic resilience. France's commitment signals not only military support, but also a deepening of European defense integration, reinforcing Ukraine's place as a serious security partner in the continent. The tour doesn't stop there. Zelensky is scheduled to travel to Spain, further broadening Ukraine's European engagement. While details of the Spanish visit are still emerging, the purpose is clear: to secure continued political, economic, and defense support from Western allies at a time when Ukraine faces both military aggression and internal challenges. This diplomatic push reflects a multi-dimensional strategy. Ukraine is not only protecting its citizens from energy shortages, but is also building strategic alliances that can provide advanced military capabilities and ongoing political backing. Every stop, Greece, France, Spain, sends a message to both allies and adversaries. Ukraine is resilient, resourceful, and determined to secure its survival and sovereignty through diplomacy, energy strategy, and defense modernization. By combining these high-level diplomatic efforts with internal reforms and energy diversification, Zelensky demonstrates that Ukraine's leadership is thinking several moves ahead in a complex geopolitical chess game, one where winter energy, battlefield readiness, and international credibility all intersect. Just as Ukraine secures its energy future and strengthens defense partnerships, a major corruption scandal has shaken the country to its core. On November 15, 2025, the Kyiv Independent reported that Ukraine is facing the largest corruption scandal of Zelensky's term, involving kickbacks from energy procurement and infrastructure projects. The scandal centers on Timur Mindik, a close ally of Zelensky, who allegedly led a group taking kickbacks from construction and energy contracts, including projects meant to protect Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Several other figures in the government are implicated, and two key ministers, Justice Minister Herman Halashchenko and Energy Minister Svetlana Hrinchuk, have already resigned. The timing could not be worse. With winter approaching and Russia escalating attacks on energy infrastructure, Ukrainians are facing long power outages, damaged heating systems, and threats to water supplies. Citizens are outraged that while ordinary Ukrainians endure these hardships, some officials were allegedly enriching themselves. Military volunteer Maria Berlinska captured public sentiment in an op-ed. This war will take away most of the active, honest, and decent people, of which most of us are. It hurts to believe that at the same time, the president's friends are paying for their expensive cars and spending hundreds of millions of our money on new villas. Public anger is widespread. Kyiv student Elizaveta Demidova said, "While Ukrainians sit without electricity for 16 hours a day, they launder money. It's not acceptable at all." I think this is the mentality that comes from the USSR, that those people who are in power always want to benefit from their position and always try to steal something. Even as criticism mounts, there is a glimmer of hope. The investigation is being led by the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine (NABU), demonstrating that Ukraine's institutions are functioning and accountability is possible. As one drone operator in the armed forces explained, "I sincerely hope that the next step will show that institutions are working in our state, and the proof of this is that every corrupt scoundrel will be punished by the law, rather than by angry and armed people." While concerns remain about potential reputational damage to Ukraine internationally, figures like Taras Chmut, head of the Come Back Alive charity, remain confident that public support for the military will continue. As military volunteer Maria Berlinska bluntly put it, "Europe should still support Ukraine, because otherwise they will be next, and they will be This scandal highlights the fragility and resilience of Ukraine's governance, a nation fighting a brutal war while striving to maintain transparency, accountability, and democratic institutions. The stakes are enormous, both for domestic trust and international support, and Ukraine's handling of this scandal will reverberate across both. In the end, the scandal illustrates the difficult balance Ukraine faces. While fighting a war on its borders, it must also purge corruption and strengthen institutions at home. This domestic struggle, like the energy crisis and diplomatic efforts abroad, is part of a broader battle for Ukraine's resilience, credibility, and long-term survival. As Ukraine fights to secure energy and stabilize governance, Russia continues to wage a relentless campaign against Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Over the past year, Moscow has intensified its strategy of targeting gas facilities, power plants, and heating systems, aiming to plunge cities into darkness and cold just as winter approaches. These attacks are no longer isolated strikes. They are part of a coordinated energy war designed to weaken morale, disrupt daily life, and strain Ukraine's economy. In November 2025 alone, Ukraine faced devastating attacks on November 8th and November 14th, which inflicted severe damage to energy infrastructure and caused widespread blackouts. Russian drone assaults have become increasingly sophisticated. According to Ukrainian reports, 139 out of 176 drones launched by Russia were intercepted by Ukraine's air defenses, yet some still managed to hit critical facilities, including a solar power plant in Odessa. Meanwhile, Moscow claims its air defenses shot down 57 Ukrainian drones, highlighting the intensity of the ongoing aerial conflict. This campaign is particularly strategic. By targeting both traditional and renewable energy sources, Russia aims to maximize civilian hardship and energy insecurity, adding pressure on the Ukrainian government while exacerbating public frustration during an already difficult winter. These attacks directly intersect with Ukraine's efforts to diversify energy imports through Greece and long-term contracts with Azerbaijan, showing that every infrastructure decision now carries both domestic and geopolitical weight. Despite these challenges, Ukraine has demonstrated remarkable resilience. Air defenses are holding, diplomatic support is strengthening, and international financing for energy imports is flowing. Yet the reality is clear. Russia's energy war is a multi-front battle, where drones, missiles, and cyber attacks are as critical as the soldiers on the front lines. In this environment, the Greece gas route, international funding, and diplomatic alliances are not just strategic choices, they are lifelines. Ukraine's ability to withstand this escalating energy war will determine how its citizens survive winter and how effectively the nation can maintain its sovereignty under the constant pressure of Russian aggression. Ukraine stands at a critical crossroads, securing its energy lifelines with Greece, strengthening defense partnerships with France, and facing the harsh reality of corruption and Russian attacks. Winter will test the nation like never before, but through resilience, diplomacy, and the courage of its people, Ukraine is sending a clear message: it will survive, adapt, and continue to fight for its sovereignty. Stay informed, stay aware, and witness how this nation navigates one of the most critical chapters in its history.